and welcome back to the Team Bandit Gang channel, and a very rare appearance from me because I no longer show my webcam on streams if you guys have been watching. And this is something we haven't done in 2 months. I've been keeping track of the schedule. So it's been 2 months since we've done an episode of the Iron Falcon Report podcast, and we have some interesting topics to bring up to you guys today. But before I get started with the topic, I decided to shorten the length of time that we will be recording these episodes because, funny enough, another podcast is going to be up on the Twitch side of things. This one will be exclusively YouTube, and it'll be, well, I wouldn't say internal, obviously, because, you know, we're going to show it to you guys so you guys can see how we interact and everything. But the one on Twitch is about community interactions. You ask your questions to them and they will answer while they do, you know, their topics and stuff. Ours is more internal. It's going to be a bit more integrated and it's going to be shorter. So I am joined today by a guest that I hope you guys are not annoyed with at this point. And we have Bomblin with the 5 N's. How are you doing today, sir?
Hello. Pretty good. I'm excited as always.
Awesome. And another guest, we have the master of the triple commandos himself. And he didn't tell me to say that, but I feel like he would have told me if I didn't mention that. We have one of the managers for Team Bandit Gang. We have BabyJosus. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm BabyJosus, aka BJ. Don't think anything about that. It's just an abbreviate for my name. But yeah, I'm the content manager for Team Bandit Gang, and basically what I'm trying to do is put Bandit Gang on the map and produce a lot of content for you guys to watch and read. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. I recently started streaming as well. And yeah, you can see a lot of articles coming on the website from me. So that's basically what I've been doing lately.
So for those of you that aren't regulars on this podcast, and clearly BJ isn't, you have to plug yourself. So go ahead and plug yourself, dude. Where can people find you?
Well, I could talk about my OnlyFans, but well, let's keep it to Gwent, you know. So you can find me on Twitter, BabyJosus, and also on Twitch, BabyJosus. I also have an Instagram that I haven't posted on since 2016, so it's not too important, I believe.
I can Photoshop your face on Yennefer. There's your OnlyFans profile picture. That's not a problem. So, the topic we're going to be talking about today is a topic that was brought up on the developer stream, and it's going to be sort of 2 topics. One sort of smaller topic and one sort of bigger topics. The bigger topics obviously are going to be the new cards that came out with the update, with the new patch. So, you know, we've had a week to sort of play around with the cards and explore with new decks. So, you know, we're going to be talking about that. And we're also going to be talking about the shorter topic, which we're going to start with first, is sort of the change in how they're going to be doing card drops for the rest of the year.
So what we want to do is we want to do every 2 months a whole new drop of cards. You know, 4 per factions, 1 of each rarity, for a total of what? And 2 neutrals, so about 26 cards, new cards every 2 months, and starting sort of this cycle of new cards, balance, new cards, balance, new cards, balance, and for this to be happening year round without any breaks, right? And you know, just kind of add some you know, expansion feeling and love to it. What we'll do is we'll break 3 drops and combine them as 1 set. So, you know, starting from hopefully beginning of June, we'll have our, you know, our set 7 first drop, then 2 months later set 7 second drop, then 2 months later set 7 third drop. That would conclude the 7th set of Gwent, and then 2 months later we start off the 8th set, right? So we start exploring a new theme.
Because for someone, like for those of you who've played cards, like card games in general for a very long time, the way they've always done card drops is through sets. So they would always release like a bulk of new cards that's usually thematically related to each other, even though, like, you know, card games have different factions, so their playstyles will have to cater to them, but sort of thematically it'll be consistent. You know, I'm just gonna start with my opinion right away. I think this is going to be good because I hope it gives them more time to focus on, you know, other projects that, you know, they want to add to make the game more interesting and to make more content with, and also to put more emphasis on the patches, because adding new cards, while that could be fun and exciting, you know, we don't want to neglect the cards that are already in the game. So I think it's better if they do actually work on the cards that currently exist in the game and balance them all up. So, you know, it while you're not seeing that many new cards and new faces onto the game, the meta like it feels different. And honestly, I feel like that's where most of the complaint was about anyway, was more in the meta. And of course, they did bring up rotations as well, which is pretty similar. And yeah, the fact that they're not doing rotations is good because their card pool is small compared to other big card games. So like for Hearthstone, it's easy to justify doing rotations because they release a lot of new cards very frequently. So, and with Gwent, I just don't think that makes sense at this moment anyway. I don't know, things could change like in the next year or next 2 years, or it could change tomorrow. Who knows? But yeah, that is sort of my opinions on that. I just want to hear what you guys think about the change in card drops for the game.
One eternity later.
Shall I begin?
Yeah, sure.
So basically, I've been taking a lot of breaks from Gwent, and mostly because there was nothing new added to the game. Which basically resulted in the meta being very still. You see the same decks over and over, and after a while, I just personally did not enjoy playing Gwent anymore. So with this new plan for releasing new cards every 2 months, it's like, hey, that's great, because that means every 2 new months we have some new cards to play with and try new decks out. And personally, yeah, I'm a huge fan of that, even though like it will be less cards, but I know that will be more frequent and I don't have to take breaks from the game over and over. So yeah, personally, I'm a huge fan of this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm very, very, very excited. I love the idea because, yeah, Gwent can be very stale with the amount of cards that there are in the pool. And this brings us a little bit a new way to experiment. And also they promised us that every second month there will be some balance changes. So it will probably affect the meta and the game as well. And as we can see in the past, for example, when they introduced only Azure or only Madog, it was 1 card every time, and it changed the game completely. We got new decks for each faction with Madog, and we still have like a very competitive deck with probably Precision Strike with Madog that can be played and can be considered maybe even tier 1 deck. So even 1 card can completely shift the game. And if they're gonna give us like 20 cards every 2 months, basically it's like a Christmas every 2 months. And the only concern I have is that they won't be making any hot fixes now, because they will keep to the schedule so much that sometimes they might experiment more with some ideas and introduce some broken cards at first, and instead of fixing it, we will be waiting for this 1 month until the balance changes that happen every 2 months. So this is my slight concern that we're gonna have something super broken, and for 3 weeks everyone will like live until it's gone pretty much. But it's like only a small thing. I'm totally excited about it, and I love this approach. Maybe we should also mention that it's not gonna start from like the next month. It's the first new drop. It's I think in June or July. So it's gonna start from then. Until then, we don't know what's gonna happen pretty much.
I mean, they will be balancing cards and such, you know?
Yeah. I just hope they won't forget about the old cards.
Yeah.
Because I don't want that they basically release 20 cards. They fix these 20 cards. They then release another 20 cards. Then they fix these 20 cards. I hope they do something with old cards as well.
Yeah, I mean, they probably will fix some of the cards alongside the new cards that got dropped, you know? So, but yeah, there are plenty of cards that are being overlooked at, and I do hope that they will be looked at some point between those new card drops. That will make Gwent a perfect state, right? If they do that.
Yeah.
I do agree.
And yeah, and they also talked about a lot of like, you know, other projects that they're going to be coming up with. I just hope, you know, because I feel like we've also had this conversation a lot where we can sometimes get too ambitious with ideas, but then sometimes the execution could be, you know, on the iffy because suddenly someone decides that, oh, maybe it's not the best idea after all, so let's just scrap it after like an episode or two. So
and we suddenly know that CD Projekt is kind of known for this thing, right? They like to do and super big plans, and then the reality hits, and it's kind of known for CD Projekt and not only for Gwent. So
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, you can basically you can tell that basically from all the things that they launched, and then it's like it's still beta. Like the Observer on Twitch, it's still beta. They haven't done anything about it. Now we have the draft mode. It got released. Chain Arena was gone. Draft mode replaced it. It's still in beta. They are working on it. I know that, but it's taking very long, and people start not caring about it anymore. And it's like with so many things, you know, like the tournament client. Today we had tournaments organized, lots of community tournaments, and people are participating in it. People are casting it, and then there were so many issues, technical difficulties, that just kind of ruined the fun of watching it. And I feel like, Secret Cred, you guys released this tournament client. Hey, great idea, but keep working on it because there are issues, and if those issues are not being fixed, then community tournaments will no longer be organized.
Yeah, I don't know if I know about the tournament without any problem, to be honest. But it's a very cool tool, but it needs some work.
And it's funny too because I think between like comparing draft mode and the tournament client in terms of which one sees more like exposure to the community, I wonder if that's going to affect sort of what they prioritize when they start doing those fixes. Like, you know, do you prioritize the tournament client first, or do you prioritize the draft mode first? And by the looks of it, like the tournament client is like, you know, being experimented a lot because, you know, this allows people to start sort of their own community tournaments. It's a good way to organize like the brackets, the deck lists, you know, what lists got banned, updates on Discord, instead of just someone writing it on an Excel file or whatever they use to do it. So yeah, definitely fixes for sure. But, you know, we're glad that we're seeing these things come out for the game, even though sometimes we can get impatient with them. But hey, at least they're toughing it out. So.
Yeah.
So,
let's hope everything will work.
Yeah, right? All right, so one interesting topic was mentioned, what Bomblin said. These card drops won't start happening till middle of the year. So that means we mess around with the cards that they gave us this month. So that's going to be our jump onto the next topic is, what do you guys think about the new cards that came out with this month? What's your favorite card? Have you guys been exploring with them? What have you guys been doing with them?
I want to give Bomblin the honor first.
Okay. So basically, last week I tested all of them. I tried every single of the new card, and I have to say that they are very, very cool. I loved what they did with them. I love their ideas. The design is pretty good on, I think, all of them, to be honest, and it enables a lot of new or maybe improve the old archetypes and give us a lot of work. Some of the cards even work in outside of the one archetype. For example, Elden works only in traps, but Cleaver, for example, can be good in obviously crimes, but can also be good in Swarm deck because it boosts by a lot Fallen Knights, for example. Some of them are a little bit worse, like Miv, that is completely trash. But in general, I really like the ideas. Maybe they have to still a little bit balance them, but I think they did a very good job with them. And if the trend continues, if the quality of the cards would be as good as this time, I'm very excited. And I also, something that I really want to mention is that I really like that they returned with some of the old abilities. Basically, they gave one card in each faction Devotion, which is like a revisit of the old ability, and I really like it because I was worried that they will ignore all of the old mechanics and then they will just add new one and not implementing the old ones to cards. And I think with some of them you can balance some old cards. For example, I love Adrenaline and I hope it will come back as well. And it can fix some problems like with Regis or with Ethereal, for example. So I'm very optimistic after this drop of the cards.
I'm gonna go second here because I don't think I'm gonna be able to offer as much insight as Bomblin did, and the reason for that is because I'm the host of this podcast, and that's what I've been told to do by unknown powers. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. And second, this is where I'll just share sort of what I've been doing with the new cards since the new meta. Being a Lord of the Rings big nerd, I just have a sentiment for dwarves. So I've just been messing around with Bruverhug so much. I know I've been told that, or people have been told that dwarves have become more powerful. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I just think they're very well synergized. Like, you can make a deck of all dwarven cards without any thinning except maybe Novigradian Justice, because that's obviously dwarves oriented, and you can still win games with them. Like, you can make it to probably rank 5, you know, to rank up to rank 5, and then that's when you'll probably start losing games, because that's what happened to me when I started playing with it.
Maybe it's not the
now
playing
it's time for me to
Perhaps
change.
it's not the deck, Enzo. Perhaps it's not the deck.
Hey, I play it because of sentimental value. Okay, I wasn't trying to get to pro with it. I wanted to see how far I could get with it. I was initially scared of Eldain for sure. But then when I really thought about it closer, it wasn't that powerful. Yes, people might start to add even more traps to make unitless decks even more insane. But I mean, its devotion ability only adds an extra 6 points. Actually, wait, did you say location doesn't get counted with it? Because
Yeah, that was
BJ.
before we started the podcast. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it could be because I was not running a devotion deck, but I don't want to talk about it. Okay, Enzo?
I'm gonna be honest, I forgot about that when I mentioned it, but now we're keeping it in, so that's gonna be cool. But yeah, other than that, I've still yet to play around a lot with those cards, so probably after this podcast I may actually delve myself into a couple more cards. But again, my job here is the host. I've been given it by unknown powers, and I need my pay, man. Anyway, we're gonna send it over to the manager himself, BJ. What do you think about these new cards, other than your triple commandos?
So, first of all, the old leader arts are back into the game, and that's something that I've been waiting for a very long time. I had many nights that I couldn't sleep thinking about, when will Unseen Elder be back in the game? Oh, where is my Eldain? I miss him so much. And now they are back in the game, and we can play with them. And then, of course, the abilities have to be sort of playable, So, yeah, I've been trying out a few of them. Unseen Elder, Eldain, and Voltest in particular. Unseen Elder can be a little bit tricky at times because some people, they just forget about doing the mats when you play that card, because it does so much damage and it's a lot of value over a round. But yeah, I played it a little bit in a non-devotion deck, actually, because I wanted to play along with Oriana. And if you play in a devotion deck, then Oriana will get less value because Unseen Elder keeps killing those units instead of giving bleeding to them. So that's why I tried that. And of course, Eldain with some traps, very no unit approach. It's been seen already quite a lot on the ladder. But yeah, the downside of that deck is that when you get pushed in round 2, then you're likely to lose value in the last round. But yeah, the card, the new card that I'm the most excited for is, of course, Voltest, because my triple commander deck, not yours, Freddy Babes, but my triple commander deck. Got a new card in the pool, and its name is Voltest, and it makes it so much easier to get more copies of your commandos, and you do have to do some kind of maths because you have to count, because otherwise you just simply make too many copies. Although you could try to summon a commander from the deck and put it on the other row and then spawn them again, but I don't feel like that's a good strategy. And since you need your tutors for other cards as well. But yeah, it made the deck so much better in my opinion. I do miss Selkirk a little bit because it's a pretty good card to remove some of your opponent's units. But in the end, the deck is mainly about getting points yourself and not interrupting with your opponent's game plan. So kicking Selkirk, adding Voltest, making a few little tweaks, and the deck is good to go. I especially like to play Maxi in the deck and like Freddy Babes. Freddy Babes, if you're watching, if you're listening, you should put that card in the deck. Because if you are in round 2 and you need to draw Renew, you play Maxi and you're like, oh, Renew, it's only a few cards. I will draw it with my mulligans, and I can keep the deck like this. And if it renews on the bottom of the deck, you will shuffle your deck. So Maxi is a great addition into the deck to make it more consistent, in my opinion. So yeah, I've been rocking the triple commandos, and I got from rank 3 to pro rank or rank 1 with it. I believe rank 1. I'm not pro rank yet. But yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I just want to let you guys know that we might now turn this into a roasting talk show. So we'll see details of that coming up soon. No, I'm just kidding. No, but that's good that, because like for me personally, like, when these new cards drop, I suddenly had the urge to go back into playing Gwent again, because all of last month I've only played on the last day, and because that was like at the tail end of the meta from still all the way back from Way of the Witcher. So seeing a new change with these new cards is great. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not even mad that I'm losing to these kinds of decks, because at least I'm losing to decks that don't show up, 5 out of every 6 games you play. So at least that's a good thing.
Also, I'm happy that they are not releasing hotfixes and super quickly, because I see on Reddit, they love complain, but they do complain like Assist OP, next day Traps are OP, then I see Dwarves are OP, now the something is OP, and I'm happy that they are like waiting with this balance or hotfix. I truly believe that we will wait until the next season, of course, and I like it because as you can see, like when there are new cards in the Gwent, it's every time people go super greedy. Like every time there are new cards, and like these cards support traps, so everyone just putting all of the traps and go super greedy on it. This card support crimes. I don't know. They go super greedy on crimes and just hope to win. And I do believe that in a time when the meta like solves a little bit, people will go away from this greedy plan, and maybe they will also try these new cards, these new ideas in like a packages. Maybe we won't play in a while some, I don't know, trap deck. Maybe it will be only like an Elden package, or in some other, maybe even in, I don't know, Harmony. I've seen some experimenting in Unitless Scoia'tael with a Brewer package, where you kind of try to win round 1 with a lot of dwarves, and then you play like synthesis and like cock and gourd, etc. So there are still meta developing, and like everyone rushed on Blaze of Glory, but what if it turns out that it's not that OP if you like play no units or can destroy the Bloodthirst, for example? So I think people can't panic yet, and I have some hopes that CD Projekt won't like over nerf some cards or not over buff some cards, because I like the design of them, and I think they are sort of at the right level at the moment.
I just want to add on to that. Blaze of Glory is not as good as what you people think. I played a deck that doesn't even belong to me last night. I completely toppled Blaze of Glory because they had to use their leader ability on a 6-point drone. So screw that.
Well, yeah, but do you guys think that the new cards, they're made a little bit stronger than normally? Like, because they are new cards, they will eventually nerf them anyway. But because they are new, CD Projekt Red want people to enjoy them and play with them to promote the game a little bit more.
I mean, yeah.
They don't want to. Sorry, I think that they don't want to like release garbage. When you get 12 new cards and none of them are playable, it looks very bad and it adds nothing to the game. But at the same time, I think none of them are like OP, like game-breaking OP. Like we don't know yet. We need to meta to look at it, but I think they are on the right power level actually.
Yeah, I've never gotten the notion that one card from that card drop is stronger than all of the others. Like I haven't gotten that sentiment yet. Some cards do work better with the respective factions than other cards do, but like I never got the notion that one card is just 100 times stronger than like all the other cards. So I think as long as there's sort of like a balance in themselves, I don't think that should be too much of a problem. I think the whole nerfing them thing, I think it depends on sort of where they want to go in the direction of this game gameplay wise, because the abilities that came out with this card gave me sort of the beta feels, like you were able, like, I don't know, it felt more fast paced the way they play. So I guess the nerf really depends on the direction of how they want to go. Like if they want to go back closer to the beta days and make it a bit more fast paced, then maybe they'll keep it, and maybe they'll try and sort of buff other cards to sort of support, you know, the card drops that came up. Not to mention their old leader abilities that we've gotten so used and we've loved for so many years. Like they should be powerful. Like you gotta give that respect to, you know, to the leaders, man.
Yeah,
show that
but
respect.
maybe they need to take another look at me though.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
accept it. But I also, that what I'm thinking is that I like that these cards are not really slap them in every deck, you know?
Yep.
They are not like, I don't know, Oneiromancy. You just can slap it in every deck. You, for example, won't play Brewer in an elf deck, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not that it's like a must-have card that you cannot, like, you have to craft it. It's at the same time like cards that support specific archetypes, and not like you must craft this card.
Yeah. So I'm actually, well, I was gonna say this isn't the end, but like, you know, we have sort of a bit at the end where if you guys have any final comments about the entire topic before I sort of hit it off, sort of finish the episode. So if you guys have any final thoughts you want to say, please say it now or forever hold your peace. Who wants to go first?
Go BJ this time.
Final thoughts. Well, I'm just super excited about the upcoming months for Gwent. I'm fully back into content creation for Gwent, so yeah, enjoying the game is very important when you want to do that. So yeah, definitely looking forward to many more new cards every 2 months, balance patches every month. Hopefully some of the old cards will also take a look at, and yeah, then I'm super happy and we can all celebrate.
And well, I have one sentence, I guess. Please remove initiative from Regis.
Keep it on Igni, but get rid of it on Regis. And my final thought is, I was actually going to respond to something that Bomblin say, and the fact that he's saying that one day something's OP and then the next day something else is OP. It's good. The conversation changes. Because if you think about a situation where you go up to a girl and you just say the same topic over and over, how excited do you think she's going to be about that? You know, it applies to everyone you talk to, you know? So try and keep your topics diverse and change, you know, think about it as if you were talking to a guy or a girl, or, you know, someone you're interested in, I should say.
Have you played any Super Seduce by any chance?
No, I've seen Pokemon play it though.
That's where you got the knowledge from.
Exactly. So that's gonna do it for this episode of the Iron Falcon Report podcast. Thank you, Bomblin and BJ, for joining me on today's episode. The links will be on the description below, so I'm not gonna have him plug it twice. Bomblin's already plugged himself enough times, so I'm gonna spare him. And BJ already plugged himself in the beginning of the episode, and we're gonna cut it off here, and we'll see you guys in the next Team Bandit Gang video. See you later.
See ya.
Bye bye.